morning, I'm Alma Angeles and you're watching Eagle News International. On tonight's headlines. President Marcos Jr. underscores his nation's commitment to avoiding confrontation with China while remaining steadfast in defending its borders against acts of aggression. In the United States, the government is hurtling towards a potentially damaging shutdown. Hardline Republicans within their own party are causing disarray, and President Joe Biden's administration is issuing increasingly dire warnings, ranging from impending border chaos to travel disruptions. Meanwhile, a humanitarian crisis continues to unfold with more than 50,000 refugees arriving in Armenia from the Karabakh region of Azerbaijan. The number of displaced individuals is increasing by the hour, according to the United Nations. Tragically, the death toll from the fuel depot blast in NagornoKarabakh has risen to 170, adding to the challenges facing the ethnic Armenian enclave following its fall to Azerbaijani forces. Shifting gears, Meta chief Mark Zuckerberg has made significant announcements revealing that the tech giant is integrating artificial intelligence into digital assistants and smart glasses. We'll delve into the details of this groundbreaking development. First to the U.S., a nightmarish commute home has descended upon New Yorkers as the U.S. largest metropolitan area grapples with near paralysis due to relentless rain. New York City finds itself under a state of emergency with 23 million residents across New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut placed under flood watches. Governor Kathy Hochul has declared this a life-threatening storm, urging all residents to stay home as conditions worsen.
I am issuing a state of an emergency for New York City based on the weather conditions. And I want to say to all New Yorkers, this is time for heightened alertness and extreme caution. We could possibly see 8 inches of rain before the day is over.
And the bottom line is we're here to help New Yorkers get through what is a life-threatening rainfall event. And I agree with you that people should be able to stay home if possible. But I know right now there's a lot of anxious parents wondering if they're going to be able to get their children home from schools.
In a vivid account shared by a Twitter user, Central Park received such a deluge of rain that some of the zoo's sea lions managed to escape their enclosures and swim freely around the zoo. New York City and the surrounding areas are already grappling with the aftermath of heavy rains that have flooded subway stations, streets, and basement apartments. A flood watch remains in effect until 6 a.m. tomorrow, with the possibility of more rain adding to the woes. Forecasters have reported over 7 inches of rain in Brooklyn and 5 inches at Manhattan Central Park.
The storm picked up significantly soon after 7 a.m., and I think New Yorkers should be aware that between 8 and 9 a.m., the Brooklyn Navy Yard received 2.58 inches of rain in 1 hour. And I think many of you know, in the aftermath of Hurricane Ida, we were all educated about the fact that our sewer system was designed for 1.75 inches per hour. And so it's no surprise, unfortunately, as a result, that part of Brooklyn and a couple of other particularly parts of Brooklyn have borne the brunt of this.
The National Weather Service warns of the potential for an additional 1 to 3 inches of rain in the coming hours. From the specter of a natural disaster to a man-made crisis, just 1 day before a potential U.S. government shutdown, lawmakers in Congress seem no closer to finding a deal to keep the lights on. Soldiers, Border Patrol agents, and air traffic controllers are among the millions facing the grim prospect of losing their paychecks. A plan to keep the federal government open failed to pass in the U.S. House. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy attempted to push through a spending bill with only Republican votes, but he lost the support of 20 members of his own party.
Thank you. There are no winners in a government shutdown, and I think that's the best way forward to make sure the government does not shut down. I think if we had a clean one without Ukraine on it, we could probably be able to move that through. I think if the Senate puts Ukraine on there and focuses Ukraine over America, I think that could cause real problems. And I think what the Senate produces, if they produce it in the manner that they are, is probably lead us to a shutdown. If they produced a clean ability to keep the government open while we finished our work and they've got into their both bills, I think we could solve that.
McCarthy has steadfastly refused to collaborate with Democrats to avert a shutdown, citing concerns that the far-right faction of his party might seek his removal from the speakership. However, with no breakthrough on the horizon before the clock strikes 12:01 on Sunday U.S. time, more than 1 million military members will face the harsh reality of going without pay. And as the deadline looms, the nation waits in suspense to see if Congress can come to a resolution and prevent a government shutdown that could have far-reaching consequences.
Now, as you all know, extreme House Republicans are solely to blame for marching us toward a shutdown. That is what we're seeing right now. It is a basic fact, and one that many of you have already reported. I know how much you all love when I quote folks, so here we go. And it's not just what you all are reporting, it's also what Republicans are saying themselves. Leader McConnell said, and I quote, "Shutting down the government is a choice, and it's a choice that would make the crisis at our southern border even worse."
So you would accept the CR without border provisions? Is that what you're saying? You think that?
As well, look, our goal is to secure the border, and that works as we work the appropriations. As you remember, the House is the only one that's passed any approach, 70% of all the discretionary. The Senate has not. I think it's productive if we keep the House open while we finish our work. And so what I've directed the members is they were supposed to be out next week. They won't. We're back here finishing our work, and we'll finish through all 12 appropriations.
So what's your timeline on this now at this point? Obviously, the government shuts down tonight at midnight. Is that just baked in the cake at this point?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think we can still move.
What would a shutdown mean? More than 2 million service members wouldn't get their paycheck. Long-term disaster recovery would be further delayed. Nutrition assistance for nearly 7 million women and children who rely on WIC would be jeopardized. Small businesses would lose out on more than $100 million a day in loans. What kind of choice is that? In addition to the more than 2 million service members who won't get their paychecks, we're talking about more than 1.5 million federal civilian employees by current estimates, roughly a quarter of whom are veterans, missing paychecks. Meat and food inspectors, Border Patrol agents, air traffic controllers, TSA agents, just a small example. On top of that, federal contractors have no guarantee of back pay. None. The thousands of federal contractors who serve the mission of this country to serve the American people, no guarantee.
In a statement issued on Friday, President Marcos Jr. emphasized that his country seeks to avoid confrontation with China, but remains committed to defending its borders against any acts of aggression. Now, this declaration follows the recent action taken by the Philippine Coast Guard to dismantle a 300-meter-long floating barrier erected by Chinese forces near the Bajo de Masinloc Shoal, located in a disputed section of the South China Sea. Earlier this week, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin reaffirmed China's sovereignty and maritime rights over the Huangyan Island, referring to the shoal by its Chinese name.
I have clarified China's position at yesterday's press conference. I would like to reiterate that the Huangyan Dao is China's inherent territory. The so-called action of the Philippines is purely a drama that entertains itself. China will continue to safeguard strongly the territorial sovereignty and maritime rights of the Huangyan Dao.
The removal of the barrier ordered by President Marcos was carried out by the Philippine Coast Guard. A video released by the PCG showed the diver cutting a rope attached to the buoys that supported the carrier. Chinese government vessels monitoring from a distance subsequently moved in to remove the barrier, according to Jay Tariela, PCG spokesman for the West Philippine Sea.
It's the Chinese Coast Guard who recovered their own barrier. What we only did is we cut the anchor and we took the anchor with us. But definitely, when they learn that the floating barrier is no longer serving its purpose, that's the time that they recover the entire floating barrier. The mere fact that they are admitting on his statement that they really laid out, they put the floating barrier in Bajo de Masinloc is a clear, deliberate violation of the international law. The mere fact that they are not allowing and admitting that they are not really allowing Filipino fishermen to go inside the lagoon is a clear violation of.
In terms of taking down the barrier, I don't see what else we could do. Dahil talaga yung mga fishermen, nung pinutol yung tali, yung nakapasok na fisherman, nung araw na yon, nakahuli sila ng 164 tons na isda. So, sa isang araw pa lang yun. Yun ang nawawala sa ating mga fisherman. At hindi naman maaari na lalagyan ng barrier na gano'n. At maliwanag naman ay nasa loob ng Pilipinas yan. Kaya, sige, basta't hindi tayo naghahanap ng gulo. Basta't gagawin natin, patuloy natin, ipapagtanggol ang Pilipinas, ang maritime territory ng Pilipinas, ang mga ang karapatan ng mga fisherman natin na mag-isda doon sa mga areas kung saan sila nangingisda daang-daang taon na. Kaya hindi ko maintindihan pag nagbago na ganito. Kaya basta kagaya na sabi ko, hindi umiiwas nga tayo sa gulo, umiiwas tayo sa mga maiinit na salita, ngunit matibay ang ating pagdepensa sa teritoryo ng Pilipinas.
Filipino fishermen who frequent the area reported that the barrier had been installed by a Chinese maritime militia service boat in response to the approaching Datu Bancao. The Bajo de Masinloc Shoal, situated 240 kilometers west of Luzon, is nearly 900 kilometers from the nearest major Chinese landmass in Hainan. Meanwhile, a maritime law expert has raised concerns about the environmental impact of China's extensive island building activities in the South China Sea. According to Jay Batumbakal, director of the UP Institute for Maritime Affairs and Law of the Sea, China hasn't been held accountable for the extensive environmental damage caused by its massive island building spree in the South China Sea. Batong Bakal also emphasized the need for Manila to take concrete steps to assess and quantify the environmental losses in the region. He suggested conducting further marine science surveys to fully understand the extent of the damage.
First step we need to do, of course, is to create basically a kind of baseline, whatever available baseline we had as of around 2013 when we began noticing them. Or rather 2012 when we began noticing them. And that's actually the reason why this Scarborough Shoal standoff began, when we tried to apprehend Chinese fishermen conducting these destructive fishing activities on Scarborough Shoal. We need to show that. We need to bring that up and show as well that the destruction continues.
He also presented evidence indicating that the destruction had continued, with more than 500 hectares of Scarborough Shoal being damaged between 2012 and 2016. Batong Bakal also said the mere presence of maritime militia vessels has had a detrimental effect on coral reefs.
The other reason for coral destruction, the other cause, is the maritime militia anchoring on pristine reefs. You do not anchor on coral reefs in massive numbers without causing some kind of destruction. The mere presence of your vessel can already destroy these sensitive reefs. The pollution that they produce while they're there for months on end will also affect the water quality, and corals are very sensitive to water quality.
He also suggested that a fact-finding initiative could serve as a means to hold China accountable on the international stage.
And then the next part will now be to come up with more detailed data to really not only to attribute to the cause, but to also quantify and evaluate the losses. In the meantime, there are many fora within the international community to which we could take the problem, a whole range of options from mere fact-finding all the way to adversarial litigation. In one memo we wrote before, we identified at least 11 different ways of calling China to account for these activities, no, before international fora. And this all has to be part of a broad strategy, really, that precisely takes advantage of all these many different options, all of them calling China to account for its destruction of the coral reefs in the South China Sea.
Now, weather updates as a significant development unfolds on the meteorological front. Tropical storm Jenny, internationally known as Koinu, has intensified, and its impact is expected to be felt across a substantial portion of the country.
Kasalukuyan, ang bagyong Jenny ay lumakas na kung saan ay naging tropical storm category. Mula ngayon hanggang Thursday next week, inaasahan po natin lalakas ang bagyong ito. Bukas, inaasahan po natin na magiging severe tropical storm si bagyong Jenny. At inaasahan pa rin natin na magiging typhoon category itong bagyo pagdating ng late evening o Tuesday next week.
According to Pag-asa, Jenny is currently not directly affecting the Philippines. However, it's anticipated that this tropical storm may prompt the issuance of tropical cyclone wind signals over extreme northern Luzon on Sunday or Monday. Furthermore, Pag-asa has pointed out the potential strengthening of the southwest monsoon, also known as Habagat, due to the influence of Jenny. And this could lead to gusty conditions, particularly in Palawan, Romblon, most parts of the Visayas and Dinagat Islands on Sunday. Jenny's trajectory suggests a steady intensification with the possibility of it becoming a severe tropical storm by Sunday. There's even the potential for it to reach typhoon category, possibly by late Monday or Tuesday.
May posibilidad po mag-landfall o lalapit po sa may extreme northern Luzon o sa may northeastern mainland Cagayan itong si bagyong Jenny. Ngayong araw, wala po tayong inaasang malalakas na pag-ulan dulot ng bagyo. Pero pagdating ng Tuesday or Wednesday next week, inaasahan po natin malalakas na pag-ulan sa extreme northern Luzon, lalo na po sa Batanes at Babuyan Islands dahil sa bagyong Jenny.
And now this is a developing story. We're reporting that the separatist government in the Nagorno-Karabakh has officially dissolved, signaling the end of over 3 decades of separatist rule within Azerbaijan's borders. Now, this development comes after a lightning offensive launched by Azerbaijan last week, which forced over half of Nagorno-Karabakh's population to flee to Armenia. The scale of the exodus is so immense that it can even be seen from space. The only road connecting Nagorno-Karabakh to Armenia has transformed into a desperate escape corridor, choked with thousands of vehicles as people flee for their safety. Many of these displaced individuals arrive in Armenia hungry and terrified, bearing the emotional scars of last week's artillery attacks.
UN Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide yesterday reiterated her strong concern over the ongoing situation in the region, where she said that images of people leaving owing to a fear of identity-based violence were very alarming indeed, called on all efforts to be made to ensure that the protection of people and the rights of the, in particular of the ethnic Armenian population who remain in the area, and also for those who've been left. She stressed that the protection and equal rights of minorities were a cornerstone of international human rights law and must be ensured.
The dire situation was further compounded by a devastating explosion on Monday at a fuel depot in the Karabakh region, resulting in the tragic loss of at least 170 lives. Nagorno-Karabakh, a region marred by territorial disputes between Armenia and Azerbaijan, is internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan, though it has been under the control of an Armenian-backed separatist government. On Thursday, separatist leaders made the pivotal decision to dissolve their government, ultimately becoming an integral part of Azerbaijan by year's end. This decision marks the conclusion of one of the world's longest and most seemingly intractable frozen conflicts. Azerbaijan is currently engaged in reintegration negotiations with these separatist leaders while simultaneously detaining key figures from their previous government and military leadership. The origins of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict date back to the early 1990s when Armenia and Azerbaijan gained independence from the Soviet Union. At that time, Nagorno-Karabakh, with a majority Armenian population, declared independence from Azerbaijan, sparking a war between the two nations. The 1994 ceasefire ended the active conflict, but the underlying issues remained unresolved. A staggering 1 billion tons of food are wasted every year, while up to 783 million people around the world are facing hunger. Ahead of the International Day of Awareness of Food Loss and Waste, the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, and the UN Environment Program, or UNEP, are sounding the alarm over losses amounting to 13% of the world's food in the supply chain before products even hit the shelves.
Reduce food loss and waste represent a triple win opportunities with immediate positive impact on food security, climate benefit, and increased availability of nutritious food, while improving the overall sustainability of agri-food systems. Our agri-food systems today apply the linear take, make, use, discard operation model that needed to be urgently changed. The global agri-food system must be transformed to be more efficient, more inclusive, more resilient, and more sustainable to ensure the food security and accessible healthy diet for all.
We need profound shifts in the way we produce, handle, store, process, and consume food if we are serious in tackling food waste.
On the International Day on Awareness of Food Loss and Waste, I do also call on governments, companies, institutions, individuals to align with international goals to reduce food loss and waste. Through integrating food loss and waste reduction into strategies, and through appropriate legislation, and through consumer awareness and action campaigns.
In a bid to regain lost ground in the AI race, Meta's chief Mark Zuckerberg made a significant announcement at the Connect Developers Conference held at the company's Silicon Valley headquarters. Meta is venturing into the integration of artificial intelligence into digital assistants and smart glasses, signaling its commitment to advancing in the field of AI technology. A notable highlight from the conference is the introduction of the second-generation Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses.
Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses, the next generation of the glasses with better camera and audio, and the first smart glasses with Meta AI built in. And that is that for the first time, you are going to be able to live stream to your friends and followers from your glasses. So, I was chatting about this with Rocco, who is the head of wearables at our partner in making these, EssilorLuxottica. And I asked him, like, hey, do you have any ideas for who would be a good person to take these for a test drive? And I think he had a good idea, so let's go check this out.
Hey, Meta, call Charles.
Calling Charles on WhatsApp.
Hey, Rocco. Ciao, Charles, how you doing?
All good, and you?
Good, good. Did you get the glasses we sent you?
Yeah, I'm trying the glasses now for the first time.
I can't wait to see your point of view.
Thanks to you, Rocco. It was great to catch up, and I'm going to take these for a test drive now. Ciao. Hey, Meta, take a video. Let's try some music. We are here live at the track. Everybody is ready to race, and I am getting ready too. Let's go. Switching to glasses.
If I became a race car driver, what would my nickname be? Rocco the Rocket. Not bad.
So, all right, these Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses, we're launching them on October 17th, starting at $299, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you all think of them.
Additionally, Meta unveiled the latest iteration of its Quest virtual reality headset.
So when you put on Quest 3, you see the physical room around you. Only now it is a canvas that you can bring your digital objects into the world. You know, Quest 3, it understands your space, so you can play with the world around you. You can solve Lego puzzles, or you can build your own creations on any flat surface in your room. You can play games like BAM with your friends sitting around a table, whether you're physically right there together, or even if they're far away. You know, people love working out in Quest. But now, if you're doing a body combat workout, the targets are going to come at you in your physical room, whether you're in your living room or if you're in your home gym. There's one point in the Stranger Things game where you can be sitting in your living room or anywhere else, and portals to the Upside Down open right there. Now, these experiences are possible because Quest 3 shows your physical space with 10 times more pixels than what we had on Quest 2. Now, this also means that you're going to be able to take a big virtual screen and just drop it wherever you are, and it'll show up in your physical room. And this is going to unlock a lot of awesome experiences for hanging out with people, watching content, even if they're not there with you. Now, one thing that I'm pretty excited to share today is that Xbox Cloud Gaming is coming to Quest in December. Now, we're just scratching the surface of what's going to be possible when you can drop virtual objects into your physical space. And next year, we're launching something that we call augments, which are basically persistent, spatially anchored digital objects that you can interact with. So, you can put a frame on your wall with photos and videos from Facebook and Instagram. You can put a digital portal next to your physical workout gear, so every time you walk by it, you can easily jump into a supernatural workout.
As always, I'll end the day on a thoughtful note. Our ability to look back and smile at our past is proof that God's plan is to keep us moving forward. This has been Eagle News International. I'm Alma Angeles. Stay alert, stay informed, because we live in extraordinary times. Good night.